Simple DIY wood template for drilling at 90 degrees. Take a small piece of timber 50 by 50 centimeters. Step back 3 to 4 centimeters from the edge and saw the timber to the middle. Change the position of the timber and make a perpendicular cut to form a step. This angle must be 90 degrees, otherwise the template will not work correctly. Clean up the resulting inner corner with a chisel. When stripping, don't overdo it and don't cut off too much. Step back 7 to 9 centimeters from the edge and saw off the fragment. The template is ready. Let's check its functionality. It makes it easy to drill at 90 degrees. You can use a square to check the gaps between the drill and the block. As you can see, there are no gaps, so it makes sense to make such a simple template if you don't have a drilling machine yet. How to easily find the center of a cylinder. Sometimes you need to find a cent to drill a cylinder later. Just using your eyes, you can miss by a lot. Take a piece of board. Place the cylinder next to it. Draw horizontal lines using the board as a ruler. Rotate the cylinder 180 degrees and draw another line. Now draw 2 more horizontal lines perpendicularly. So, in a square, it is much easier to find the center of the cylinder. How to remove dents from soft wood. Wet the dent and the area around it with clean water. Heat the wood with a stream of hot air until the moisture evaporates. Add clean water again. Heat again with hot air. After several such repetitions, the dents will disappear. What to do with dried wood filler? Is it possible to use? My answer is yes. Just follow my recommendation. Pour the filler onto a flat, hard surface. The filler must be completely dry. Crush a piece of filler into a fine dust. You need to crush it thoroughly to get a uniform fine dust. The smaller the grains of sand, the better the glue will interact with it. Pour the dust into the wood defect that needs to be hidden. Add a drop of superglue. Do not fill the defect completely. Gradually alternate doses of dust and superglue. This composite dries quickly and does not have the elasticity of a sealant, unlike a mixture of wood glue and wood dust. It is difficult to cut with a chisel, difficult to pierce with a knife, but it sands well and holds its shape. After the glue has completely dried, treat the excess of the hardened mixture. This method is well suited when you need to hide some minor defect, but there is no time or opportunity to glue another piece of wood. How to conveniently tighten a bolt by hand. Take a plastic sauce cap. Its ribbed surface will be an excellent attachment for the bolt head for unscrewing by hand. Use a V-cutter to make cuts to open the internal thread rings. Cut off the protruding teeth. They can interfere later. Put the bolt in the cap. Carefully pour a small amount of baking soda. Secure the bolt so that it does not accidentally move. Drop superglue onto the soda and wait until it completely hardens. Add the second portion of soda and drop superglue again. Repeat this procedure until the cap is completely filled. After the glue has completely hardened, such a bolt is ready for use. It was very important to pre-cut the internal thread of the cap, otherwise the cap will simply slide off the mixture of soda and glue. Practical application: fixing the parallel stop on an electric planer. Unscrewing such a bolt is easy and quick and does not require any additional tools. How to conveniently tighten a bolt by hand. Part 2. Push a hardwood board. Drill 2 holes for the thread diameter. Insert the bolt into the first hole and trace the hex head of the bolt. Cut out the hex hole with a thin jigsaw blade. You can also cut such a hole with a narrow chisel. After the jigsaw, finish the hole with a cutter. Cut off 3 fragments from the board. Apply scratches for better adhesion of the glue. This procedure makes the surface rough. When gluing, the glue gets stuck in these scratches, and after the clamp it is not squeezed out completely between the 2 pieces of wood. Insert the bolt into the piece of wood with the hex hole. Glue the piece with the round hole from below. Glue the piece without the hole on top. Fix the gluing with a clamp. After the glue has dried, grind off the excess wood. Give the handle a comfortable shape. Impregnate the wood with oil or varnish. Practical application: fixing the mount for the angle grinder. Unscrewing such a bolt is easy and quick and does not require any additional tools. Self-centering template for finding the center on the side of the board. Take a piece of narrow board 1 to 13 centimeters. Mark 2 points at a distance of 10 centimeters. Mark 1 more point exactly in the middle between the 2 previous. Drill 8 mm holes at the extreme points. Take a thin awl. Take a thin awl, measure its thickness and select a drill of the same thickness. Drill a center hole with this drill bit. Hammer 8 mm dowels into the extreme holes. Insert a thin awl into the central hole. Practical application: put the template on the side of the board and twist until the dowels rest against the board. Insert an awl into the central hole and prick the board. If you drilled the central hole exactly between 2 dowels, then the awl will always prick exactly in the center of the board. How to drill a new hole with a hole saw if there is already a smaller hole in the desired location. If you just try to re-drill, the hole saw will ruin the surface. The existing hole is much larger than the centering drill. You need a template from another drilled board. Put the template on top of the workpiece, synchronize the holes, and fix the template. This will make drilling very easy. How to tighten a screw with a screwdriver in a hard-to-reach place. What if the screw falls off the screwdriver and you can't hold it with your hands? Take a piece of paper tape. Pierce the sticky side of the tape with the screw. Put the screw on the screwdriver and fix it with tape. This will make tightening the screw easier and then easily tear off the paper tape. But there is a better idea. Take a neodymium magnet and attach it to the screwdriver for 10 minutes. After this, the screws themselves will become magnetized to the screwdriver. This will be enough to prevent the screw from falling off when you try to tighten it. How to make a compass for a hand router. Take a standard parallel fence for the router. Unscrew the cylindrical guides from the fence. Insert them back into the router and fix them at the same distance from the edge. Take a piece of square pipe 40 by 40. Seal one side of the pipe with paper tape. Apply a little paint to the edges of the guides. Place the router on its base and touch the painted ends of the guides with a piece of pipe. This imprint will allow you to determine relatively accurately where you need to drill the pipe. Measure the diameter of the bolts that attach the guides to the standard parallel fence. Drill 2 holes in the pipe with a diameter 1 millimeter larger than the diameter of the bolts on the guides. Transfer the location of these 2 holes to the adjacent side of the pipe and find the middle. In the middle of the adjacent side, drill a third 6 millimeter hole. Securely fix the pipe and saw it lengthwise twice. You need to saw the pipe on those sides where there are no holes. If you do everything correctly, from a piece of pipe you will get 2 L profiles, one with 3 holes, the second without. Be sure to file down all burrs. Insert the bolts from the inside of the profile and screw the guides. That's it. The router compass is ready. Time to test it. Take a piece of candle and rub it on the router sole and the compass sole. This will reduce friction and make the router easier to move. Mark the material you want to work with and find its center. Drill a hole in the center with a diameter of 6 millimeters and a depth of 10 to 15 millimeters. No need to drill through. Place the router on the material. Take your 6 millimeter drill. Nail the sole of the compass to the material. Pull the router to the distance you need. Adjust the depth of the cutter. Turn on the router and start milling. Do not try to mill the material to the full depth at once. It is better to mill several circles, where on each circle, lower the cutter by 4 to 6 millimeters. After several circles of milling, you will get a fairly accurate circle. Original tubes for storing small items. Take an empty tube for sealant, cut off the protruding thread. Insert a long stick of a suitable diameter into the hole. Push out the bottom of the tube. Use a thick awl to pierce 2 holes in the bottom. From the inside of the bottom, insert a long zip tie into the first hole, bend the zip tie into a loop, and insert it into the second hole. Then adjust the loop for 1 to 2 fingers and tighten the zip tie. Cut off the excess part of the zip tie. Trace the circumference of the tube on thick cardboard and cut it out. Insert the cardboard circle into the tube and push it all the way in to cover the hole from the cut thread. It turned out to be a good storage for small items. The lid fits quite tightly. wooden dowels, small screws, long screws, and even curly nails. And that's all for me. If this video was useful for you, put your thumb up, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching.